Hey guys, welcome back to Hardcore. I'm Chell. That's Miko. Hey Miko.
Hi everyone, hi Celestina.
Hi guys. So, this is coming out the first week of December, and over the next couple of weeks is when all of this will actually be happening. Miko annually hosts the 12 Nights of Transformation, and she's going to get more into the history of this and how this came into her world and how you can be a part of it if this is something that you want to be a part of. I did it 2 years ago, so I'll be infusing a bit of my experience with this as well. But without further ado, take it away.
That was a beautiful introduction. Thank you very much.
I try.
Now we're going to be talking about the 12 Nights of Transformation, aka the Raunächte. So this is the original term for it. I started out with calling it the Wild Nights, then I changed it to 12 Nights of Transformation, and there is no real translation for these nights. So Rau means either rough or in the sense that the weather is rough during this time, or it can also mean Rauch, which means smoke, and smoking out or smudging things is a very important part of this whole tradition. This whole thing came about it becoming more and more famous and popular in Germany, and I first connected with this 5 years ago, I think, maybe 6, and I started to do this for myself, and then I started to connect it to the Opportyounity program, so the True to You approach. Each of these nights has a specific theme to it. And these 12 nights are used to dive deeper into yourself, but also to create a plan or a vision for the upcoming year. So releasing everything that no longer serves you and manifesting the things that you really want in 2025 in this case. The 12 Nights of Transformation are also known to have the Sperrnächte in front of them. So you have the Raunächte, which is in between the 24th of December until approximately the 6th of January. The time span also varies here, so we're not entirely clear where exactly all of this is coming from. It's known to come from the Nordic hemisphere because this is where the weather was rough, as we have learned. And it is a time where people would prepare for winter, for dark and stormy days and nights. So they would all gather around the fireplace, they would tell stories, they would reflect on the past year, and they would also make plans for the upcoming year. So this is where the whole tradition comes from. And it's assumed that it's around 2,000 years old, because this is when the lunar and the solar calendar switched. So the time in between the lunar and the solar calendars is this time of end of December and beginning of January. That's where they overlap. So this is also a time that is known to be the veil to the other side is lowered. That's what it is known for. So you're more easily capable of connecting with the other side. You're more able to connect with your own intuition. And also, if you think about it in a logical, modern day kind of sense, this is the time which you often have for yourself or for your family. This is the time where you're often not working, most of us at least, where you get to really reflect and enjoy the holiday spirits. The Sperrnächte, the 12 Nights of Reflection, which I'm introducing this year, is something that starts on the 8th of December and it goes until the 20th of December. And this is the time which you can use to reflect on the last year. So instead of doing everything in the 12 Nights of Transformation, aka the Raunächte, you can take it to the Sperrnächte, the self-reflection part, and then do the transformation and action part in the Raunächte. And throughout from the 8th until the 20th of December, you would reflect on each month of the previous year. So the way that I have structured it is that you get prompts and you can either reflect on the entire year through these prompts, which are also related to the themes of the 12 Nights of Transformation, so that you have already a foundation for the 12 Nights of Transformation. Or you can use each of the Sperrnächte. So the 8th of December, for example, would then stand for January, the 9th for February, etc. And you can reflect on those months. So what you can do, this is a little tip if you want to practice this, you can look at your photos on your smartphone or your camera, wherever you took pictures. You can go through all your picture library and you can see, okay, what did I do throughout this year? If you don't have a super good memory like our ancestors used to have, because we're so reliant on these smartphones. And you can also go through your calendar and check what events happened during this month. And this may trigger some of your mind, some of your thoughts, your memories regarding this time frame. So the best thing, of course, to do is to use both the prompt and the monthly reflection. But if you feel more pulled, more drawn towards one or the other, then do what feels right for you. This is really the main thing about this whole journey. It's really to go inwards and to listen to your intuition, because we don't really do that enough the rest of the year. We don't sit in solitude and silence, in self-observation as much as we can during exactly this time. For you, what stood out during when you first did these 12 Nights of Transformations?
I think exactly what you've just said, right? Like having that time to reflect. I feel like New Year's is always the time to like set new goals and like ponder upon like what didn't work last year. But the way you've framed it within the program that you have, I feel like really allows you to go within and reflect, take the time, but then also prepare in a really meaningful way for the next year, rather than being like, I'm gonna lose 5 pounds, you know? Like it's more than that. And the space that you hold, I truly believe, allows you to be able to do that. I don't know if that answered your question or not. I was also really down to burn things. I'm not a pyro, I swear, but like I was also really down to like burn the piece of paper every day and just feel that release. It feels really friggin' cool. We'll go more into that, I'm sure.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, that's a nice thing to hear from the other side, to understand what really helped you throughout this. And this is a great point that we can continue with, because these 12 Nights of Transformation, they may seem very witchy and spiritual, but they don't have to be. It is one time where you can really lean into it. And I love to lean into that aspect. But especially this year, I've decided to really break it down into the physical, the psychological, the energetic, and the spiritual. So each of these topics, which is what the Opportyounity True to You approach is based on, each of these topics will be having a certain method or a technique or something that you can do or use or reflect on during these 12 Nights of Transformation. And if you're not ready for doing all 4 of these techniques, or if you don't want to dive into all 4 of these elements of you, as I call it, because this is all that makes us who we are. And if you feel more comfortable staying in the physical or mental realm, you're free to do so. But if you do want to dive into the more spiritual and energetic aspects of this whole tradition, which I really enjoy a lot, you can use all 4, or maybe just pick and choose whatever feels right on that day for you as well. And that's the beauty of it. You can read through it, you can see what resonates, and decide for yourself what you're ready for. So the burning thing that Celestina just mentioned, this is another big tradition during this journey where you write down 13 wishes. And we have 12 nights, so for every one of those nights, you will burn 1 wish, except for the 13th wish that will stay over. So what you do is you write down your wishes on small pieces of paper, you fold them up so that you don't know which wish it is you're picking up, and you're putting them in a jar or a little bag. And then every night, You take one out and you burn it at random without looking at it. And then at the end of these 12 nights, you will have one wish left over. And this is what you actively need to work on. So you will write down all the wishes that you want to happen in this case 2025, but you can do this every single year, which is the beauty of it as well. And then the last wish that is left over is the one that you will have to actively put some effort and work into. All the other ones are said to be taken care of by the universe. So be careful what you wish for. I will add to this because sometimes the things that you wish are not the things that you really need. That's also where I hold a workshop to really guide you towards the things that you truly need instead of the things that you may believe that you want in your life. And this can be due to social conditioning, through your belief systems that have been built up culturally, religiously, whatever that may be, but elements that may not necessarily be true to you, but instead elements that are also taken up from your family and friends, things and ideas and thoughts that they believe leads you to a greater version of you, but what you really need is a different thing. So this is another important aspect that I integrate into the 12 nights of transformation, because we do use human design. This is where human design comes in. So instead of just doing the 12 nights of transformation with the certain themes that are often aligned to these nights, first of all, I've slightly adjusted the themes according to the 10 life aspects of opportunity. So the 10 life aspects provide you with 10 life aspects that are important within everyone's life. That can be, for example, nature and footprint. This can be passion and purpose. This can be creativity and exploration. So there are different themes out there, of course, also relationship and love. But all of those that I just mentioned are part of the 10 life aspects. And within that, to find balance, you need to bring balance into the 4 elements of you. Each of these life aspects will be included in the 12 nights of transformation. And within each of these nights, you will have exercises and tools and techniques that help you balance these life aspects and also the 4 elements of you. This is a new twist to the 12 nights of transformation this year. Last year, it was slightly different, but I feel it was, I mean, Celestina already said that it was a great way to start the year, but I feel like this is bringing a little bit more structure into the whole thing. How do you feel about that?
Agreed. I think that you brought topics in to the conversation that I wouldn't have thought about otherwise. If I recall, I'm not going to give too much away, but there was one topic in particular that you probably wouldn't have had that conversation with anybody, like not you, but like a person probably wouldn't have had that kind of conversation with anyone else. And I was just like, wow, it's really interesting that you're bringing this topic in particular up in this, and that we're having a more in-depth conversation around this. Again, just kind of an out-of-the-box topic, and there is more structure to it, but it really gets you thinking in different ways about things that probably aren't brought up in everyday life either. About yourself, about your world, about what you're passionate about, and also some like necessities, right, in your world. So again, kind of skirted around what I was actually talking about, but I don't want to give too much away because it's a really cool space.
You can share it.
I can share it?
Well, if you can share the topic.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, it was about like planning for life after you, which is just such an, right? Yeah, it was just, I don't know, it's not something that would typically come up in planning for the next year kind of thing. But I thought it was just so interesting that you brought that up, and it really has made me think about that. You know, like, where are all my documents? Like, where am I? And like, where is this who is that person? Like, what are those contacts? How can I make this easier for someone else? And again, it's something like maybe you discuss when you're talking about a will and you're a bit older. I'm 32. That's not necessarily something I've thought about, but I'm really grateful that you brought it up in that conversation just because I think it's something that isn't talked about enough and really just gets you thinking differently going into a new year and just differently about yourself as well.
Oh, that's beautiful. I'm happy you like that exercise. Yes, it was the departure suitcase. So, yeah, let's see if it's going to make the cut this year. Well, for everyone that does want to do this exercise, I will add it to the course no matter what. Yeah, because I do feel it's kind of a shock to the system to think about this. And you know me, I have the channel of shock, so it feels right to have that in there.
It makes sense now. It makes so much more sense now.
Yeah, I just feel like it's an important thing to think about. And it shocks you back into reality when you're really confronted with this topic and when you're thinking about what you're leaving behind for the people that are left behind, and to also build up a more comfortable space around this topic for yourself, and to also start the new year with the awareness that this is not just another year. You can make this the year of your life. And I feel like this is what we should think every single year, that it's not just, oh, it's just another year, but really to make it count, no matter how old we are. This is one part of the journey to realize that there is an end to this lifetime, but also that we are all unique. And this is what I've always wanted to do with all of my courses. And I had also the first course I did of the 12 Nights of Transformation. I was really struggling to make it unique. So I waited a few years before creating the course that I did, because I didn't have a way to make it as unique as I made it for every single participant without having to read every single participant's human design chart. So I help people understand where to look for what information when it comes to, for example, manifestation. We also talked about that. We also even talked about this here on this podcast. So check out that episode if you haven't done so yet, because we do explain how to manifest things according to your variables. And this is also a topic that we use in human design during the 12 Nights of Transformation, so that you're not thrown into the ice cold water and you're just supposed to think of things that you want in the next year, but you actually get a real guideline of which topics may be important to think of and how you can bring those into your reality through human design, through using your unique blueprint. And we're doing this with several different aspects. So in this year as well, what we're focusing on more is how to hone in on your unique energy. And that is not just the energy that you're exuding, like your aura, not just the energy that is showing in your human design chart for your personality and your design, but also the motor centers on how you go through life and how you use that unique energy that you have to your advantage, instead of if you have an undefined or open ego running on willpower, or if you have an undefined or open sacral running on life force energy. That is not what you're here for. You can do it for a very short amount of time, but if you're continuously doing that, you're going to exhaust yourself. So this is why we chose to talk about this today in this episode, because there are human design elements integrated, which do make it a course that is very individualized to you without me guiding you on an individual level. So I help you figure out these things through your own human design chart. And this is always what I've loved to do all my life, to teach someone how to fish instead of having to fish for them. This is a little bit about the 12 Nights of Transformation. What else did you enjoy during this time?
There were other people in the space that I got to connect with, and I thought that that was really fun too. I love a good community of people, and I'm a believer that if you are authentic, if you are you, then you attract people who are similar to you, and you definitely did that, right? It was such a good vibe of people, and I'm pretty sure it was people from like all over the world. It wasn't just people in Germany, which I thought was really cool. I think that that's also really unique. So if this is something that you guys want to do, right, it's an opportunity to have community, to come together and meet others, and it's just a very unique experience. Again, I really love the fire piece of it. I'm gonna get super hippy dippy and witchy, but like there's something about the release of like putting your energy into that piece of paper, right? And like actually believing what you're writing and really and truly feeling it, manifesting it, and then releasing it into the universe by burning it. There's just something so beautiful about that process. And actually, the first time I ever did that was when we were in Cuomo and we were going through like things that we needed to release. I'm pretty sure we did like the person to person chart. I don't know if we've talked about that on here or not. That's a totally different topic. Nonetheless, I burnt a piece of paper and let that shit go and had the most emotional experience of my entire life.
Wow,
So
even your entire life.
I don't think I've ever had
Wow,
that
yeah.
kind of reaction to that, dude. Legit. Like, it was that intense. So, what I'm trying to say is, if you're putting you onto that piece of paper and your truest desires onto that piece of paper, the universe will take care of you. You put the energy in and trust after you burn it. It's a very like physical representation of like that manifestation and that energy, but I think it's a beautiful release, I think, to experience. And to be able to do that for 12 nights in a row, I truly looked forward to that part of it. And it just became like me time at the end of the night, going out onto the freezing cold porch, grabbing my lighter, you know what I mean? And just like having that me moment. I think that's also something to take away from this. It's not just about go, 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 do, plan, plan, plan. It's about reflection, and it's also about just having a minute for you in what can be a very, very crazy time of the year when we're so focused on holidays and gifting and high expectations with family and just having a moment for yourself. And a lot of these days fall within that like Christmas holiday period, right? So taking the time for yourself on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, the day after, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, I think is really important during all of that craziness. And this allows you to have that moment to yourself, for yourself. Or if you're doing it with family, amazing. You guys can come together and do this too, because that's beautiful. Make it part of your family tradition rather than it just being you flying solo on your porch burning pieces of paper in the middle of the night. You know? Or do that.
Yeah, as we said at the beginning, it's really a unique choice and experience for each of you. So you choose how you want to do it. And I've done it with my family and I've done it by myself. And I love both of these aspects. So another important point of this is, as you say, it's a very busy time of the year. It can be very busy on some of those days. And you choose how much time you put into this program, how much time you put into yourself or into your family or your friends or whoever you spend this holiday with. So it is very flexible, very moldable to where you are in life right now. So this is a little bit of information on the 12 Nights of Transformation. And if you do want to join, then check out the link below in the description, or you can go to opportunity.life. That is OPPORTYOUNITY.life. And there you will find all that you need to sign up for the 12 nights. I hope to see you there. It is always a beautiful group. More information will be available in the description below and on opportunity.life as well.
Amazing. Ja.
Yeah.
Ja. Sehr gut. Alrighty, kids.
Thank you very much for listening, and we hope to see you next time.
Ciao, guys.
Bye.